Boston Sports Nuts. This is a very special edition. This is our second annual Boston Sports Nuts year-end awards for 2025 for Boston sports. I'm Jim Russo, along with my good friends Paul Izzo.
Great to be here, Jim.
And Ken Berman.
Couldn't even sleep last night, Jim.
Thinking
for this show.
Okay.
These
All right.
awards.
Who can sleep?
All right. Yeah, true. We've been waiting for this. All right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how we came up with these, Jim.
All right. Yeah, I came up with this. Just a list of things that we found interesting, and we wanted to just award the Boston players. So we got a list that we're going to go through. And again, this is limited to Boston except for the last category, which is going to be a national, international category. And we should note that this is for the 2025 calendar year. So this is 1/1/25 through 12/31/25. For instance, Jaylen Brown's recent masterpiece in L.A. against the Clippers does not count. That will count for 2026. So with that said, as with the Academy Awards, they tend to start off with supporting actor, actress. We're going to start out, Paul, with the breakout star of the year for 2025 in Boston sports.
Okay, now this was a tough one because how do you define a breakout star? The one thing Jim didn't mention is that when we vote privately.
Yeah.
And we submit, we don't discuss it.
Yep.
So I had it down to two, which was Roman Anthony of the Red Sox and Drake May of the Patriots. But I went with Roman Anthony because when I think of a breakout star, I think of somebody who literally came out of nowhere in the middle of a season. Yes, he was a highly touted minor league player, highly touted draft choice. Drake May had already been here a year. So Roman Anthony was so impactful. I think he went from being not on the team to being the team's best player, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. So I went with Roman Anthony.
Ken?
I went with Drake May. Although Roman Anthony was great when he played, he missed a lot of time, got hurt, started out awful. His first, I don't know how long here, he was batting like 135 for a while. And although I think he's going to be a great player, I don't consider him a star yet. He's not in my star category. Drake May this year is possible MVP of the NFL. I'm going with that as my star.
Okay. I actually have a third pick.
Okay.
Roman Anthony was my second choice, and Paul, you made a good point. It's how you define it. I looked at it as Drake May was semi-established. Roman Anthony, I thought, didn't play long enough because he got hurt. I went with Marcus Jones.
Whoa.
And the reason I did is this guy had a stretch of, returning kicks for touchdowns, returning an interception for touchdowns. And I also considered that, he is part of a historic, as we said on our last show, Patriots season. So I should have mentioned at the beginning, if we have a tie, we go to our outstanding producer, Evan. Evan, you want to break that tie?
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards Drake May. I actually like the Marcus Jones thing, but the only reason I wouldn't lean towards him is because he's been around for longer, and I think we all knew as Patriots fans who he was. I think same with Drake May, but Drake May's just had so much of a bounce from going from a 4-13 season to 14-3. I think Roman Anthony can get there. I think he's a strong candidate for this year. I think we have to see how he does this upcoming season.
Okay, so thank you, Evan.
All right, I got to disagree with that. Okay. Marcus Jones, I think, for me, suffers from the same problem as Drake May, which is that he was already on the team. He's been there before. When I think of a breakout star, I think of a guy that just shows up and takes off. So that's why I'm going to stick with Roman Anthony. I think you're wrong. I think his period of being unproductive was pretty short.
I thought
there, buddy.
Jones took off. That's why I voted for him. But
All
anyway,
right,
okay.
right.
So, Ken, you and Evan have carried the day. The breakout star of 2025, despite Paul and my objections, is Drake May.
Congratulations to Drake. I know he watches the show, so I want to thank him.
Yeah, congratulations. Second category, Ken, we're going to start with you.
He hasn't missed a game yet, has
Well,
he?
he'll miss practice before he'll miss one of these.
Wow, that's something. Okay, Ken.
I'm going with a few things for
I
play.
didn't announce the category yet.
Sorry.
We got to have the viewers
I
know
know
what we're talking about.
Evan, can you break the tie, please?
No.
All right. Ken, play of the year, any Boston sport.
Okay. Because I'm not young anymore, it's really hard to think of all this stuff, I got to admit. But I'm going with a group of plays by Trayvon Henderson, who's had 3 touchdown runs of 50 yards or more.
Incredible.
So that's what I'm going with.
All right.
Trayvon Henderson as a triplet.
That isn't what was asked, but
Yeah.
you're your own man. I
Yeah, he
appreciate
is his own
he's like the
man.
cowboy of sports nuts.
Yeah.
There you go.
Follows
He's his own man.
I
Paul?
went with Cedon Rafaela's walk-off triple against the Detroit Tigers. You don't get walk-off triples very much, and you don't get walk-off triples that result in your team qualifying for the postseason and create total chaos on the field at the end of the game in Fenway Park. So I'm going to go with that. Yes, there have been some tremendous plays at Patriot games, but they've been in the context of regular season games. Last year, 24, we had that incredible shot by Jaylen Brown from the corner against
Yeah.
Indiana
Peyton
Pacers.
Pritchard,
What's that?
the Peyton Pritchard half-court shot, too.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
Although Brown's was the one that tied the game in
Right.
game 1 of the series.
Right.
So I went with Rafaela.
Okay, Paul, I think that's an excellent choice. I really do. And the only reason I didn't pick that, and maybe it's a selfish reason, is I picked Rafaela's walk-off home run on July 11th because I was so shocked that, and I thought Dave O'Brien had a fantastic call on that.
That was a good one.
I was so shocked that he did that because he hadn't started that streak of clutch hitting yet.
Right.
I think that kind of kicked it off. But I think yours is excellent. But I went with the
Way
July
better than mine.
11 home run with Rafaela. Evan, once again, we got to go to Evan.
I'm gonna go with the triple versus the Tigers.
I
I
can
think
totally understand
Thank you.
they're
Thank
both
you, Evan.
they're both great plays. I'm just gonna lean towards that one though.
Yeah.
Be a little something in your
It was
envelope
more
later.
important.
Appreciate
So, the play of the year,
Very
Boston
little.
Sports
Yeah.
Nut, is,
Less from me.
is Cedon Rafaela's walk-off triple to get them into the playoffs against the Detroit Tigers. I'll start this one. Best decision of the year, I give it to Bob Kraft in firing Gerard Mayo. Now, I also put as a side note hiring Mike Vrabel, but I thought the more difficult decision was to fire Mayo. It's not easy to fire a guy after 1 year. I'm sorry, especially a guy that he likes. He clearly liked Gerard Mayo, who by all accounts is a great guy. It must have been very hard for Kraft to do that, but in my opinion, he sucked it up. He did what was good for the team. He did what PC did after Patino when they fired Gordy Chiesa and hired Rick Bonds. I've always compared it to that. So I give it to Bob Kraft in firing Gerard Mayo. Paul?
I think that's an excellent choice, but I went with the hiring of Mike Vrabel.
Yep.
There were other coaching candidates out there. Kraft had his eye on Vrabel. I think Vrabel's got some special talents as a coach. We can talk about that some other time. But I think the hiring of Mike Vrabel, if you asked me what was the best decision, I might agree with you. You know, we don't consult on this in
We
advance.
don't want to
Right.
ruin it.
Right, but I'm going to stick with my decision.
Yeah.
That my choice, which is the best decision, was the hiring of Mike Vrabel. The record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Ken Berman.
I'm going with the hiring of Mike Vrabel.
Okay. All right. The best decision of the year then goes to Robert Kraft in hiring Mike Vrabel. Okay. Back to Paul to start us off. Paul, worst decision of the year.
Oh, worst decision of the year. This one came right into my mind, which was the Celtics' failure to bring back Luke Cornett.
Your guy.
Okay. Every other move they made, I understood. They shed a lot of salary with Drew Holiday, although they've taken some on with Anthony Simons. I could understand moving on from Al Horford. I could understand some of the other things they did. But I felt that Luke Cornett was relatively short money. And although they've gotten lucky to some degree with the two guys they have, Garza and Cada, you know how I feel about Luke. He's a guy in the up. You know, he really wasn't. He's not a veteran. He's only been in the league a few years. I thought he really came on last year, and I didn't like the fact they didn't re-sign him.
Ken.
Good one, Paul. Good one. I went with the trading of Rafael Devers as a terrible decision. I think basically I was swayed that way because they didn't get. I don't think they. I don't know. I just don't think they get it.
That was a salary dump.
Good.
Yeah.
That makes it even worse decision.
Yeah,
A salary dump.
I agree, Ken. My choice was the trading of Rafael Devers, and the biggest reason is what you said. We come to the playoffs. This team makes the playoffs, and they can't hit. And it's like they got nothing, the Devers. It was a salary dump, as Dan Shaughnessy correctly identified from day one, to give him credit, as you just said. So the worst decision.
By the way, no disrespect. Did anybody think that wasn't a salary dump? I mean, they got mediocre talent for him. They shed over $300 million in salary.
Well, there was
they
talk
took
about
on
clubhouse, how they were cleaning out the clubhouse, and
Yeah, he
didn't
wasn't
want him to impact the new rookies. And
No, but I
all
think
that.
it can be two things at once. I
Yeah.
think it could be a salary dump and, I mean, I think if he was a solid citizen that said, I want to play first base, I'll do whatever it takes to help the team, they don't dump him.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't
I
see
don't know.
that.
Yeah.
But I don't think you give up, and I guess we all agree, you do not give up a guy that gets 100 RBIs and over 30 homers and get nothing.
Hey, we didn't get anything for bets. That's two incredible.
Oh,
hitters.
Alex Verdugo doesn't rock your boat?
All right, we're going to move on. Ken, it's your turn to lead off. Team of the year. This is a real difficult one, but we got to give the award.
Yeah, I'm going with the New England Revolution. No,
Oh, all right.
no, I'm going with the
No.
Patriots. I'm going with the Patriots. I mean, because this is hard because we go January 1 to the, and they cross over and things start, but I'm going with the Patriots.
Paul?
My team of the year is the New England Patriots. Obvious choice. Not only because they're winning, they won a lot of games in 2025. They were fascinating in 2025.
Yeah.
They fired their coach. They hired a coach. They had a very interesting offseason. They had a very good draft. They had a very weird training camp where they showed nothing.
Right.
Did anybody come out of training camp thinking, "Whoa, look at this!
Juggernaut."
They've really turned it around"?
I had them at 13-4. I only missed. No, absolutely not. No one
It's
did.
the whole year has been. I don't think a day went by from January 1 to December 31 that I didn't read something about the Patriots, and I can't say that about any other team.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. To me, this was a layup for all
Yeah.
the reasons you guys
Yeah.
said. The New England Patriots are Sports Nuts, Boston Sports Nuts 2025 Team of the Year. Okay, my turn to start it off. Sports Writer of the Year. I got to go with the guy that won it last year. I got to go with Chad Finn. I think he's the best sports writer in Boston. He is great on football. He's great on basketball. And he's the media guy, and he writes great stuff about the media. He's my favorite sports writer. And I got to go with Chad Finn and for a repeat winner, which is very tough to do.
Yes,
I don't think
very-
it's ever been done. We've only done, all right. Ken, your choice.
Well, I love Chad Finn. I voted for him last
You
year.
did?
But this year I'm going for Dan Shaughnessy
Okay.
because I really enjoyed his Sunday. We get the Globe still. I love reading his Sunday notes
That
columns.
comes out on Friday.
I know, but it used to be only on Sunday.
right,
It's
yeah.
on Friday because of digital world. It used to only be
Oh,
a
I see.
Sunday thing.
Okay. All
They posted earlier.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
No, I just found it interesting this year and found myself when the Sunday Globe came that I went to that sports article first.
I like that column too, and a tip of the hat to the late great Bill Reynolds.
Yeah.
Who used to call it For What It's Worth. But Shaughnessy does a great job with that. Paul, your choice.
Not to be a killjoy, but this is my least favorite award because I don't read all the media outlets.
Right. I don't.
And
either.
not only do you have the Globe, you have the Herald, you have the
Right.
Boston Sports Journal, you have Pat's Pulpit, you have each individual team has a writer now, and I
Yeah.
read a lot of that. I subscribe to The Athletic, and I also like Chad, only it's Chad Graff, who covers the Patriots for The Athletic and does a really good job. He's a young kid. He's on his way up. Interesting, I don't know if you remember Steve Buckley.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's moved on to The Athletic
Yep.
as a columnist, writes about all the Boston sports. So I'm going with Chad Graff of The Athletic.
By the,
Okay.
by the way, just to add, we do have a Sharon High School grad writing for, is it the Herald? I'm not sure. Doug Hyde. You know
yeah.
Doug Hyde. Graduated with Aaron Sports Nuts Berman
Nice.
from Sharon High School.
All right, Evan. you got to break this tie. Your choices are Chad Finn of the Globe, Chad Graff of the Athletic, and Dan Shaughnessy of the Globe. Who gets the award?
This is a hard one because I also don't read as much as I probably should. But I'm going to have to give it to Chad Graff.
Chad Graff.
I think I'm going to have to
Chad
give it.
Graff.
Wait till he gets the news.
Oh my God, he is. Oh.
Well,
Family's
we
gonna
have
be doing-
this is probably a surprise, but he earned it. He got the 2 votes, and Chad Graff is our 2025 Boston Sports Nuts Sports Writer of the Year.
Congratulations to
Absolutely.
Chad.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to start with Paul on this. Paul, Brian Scalabrine is the defending champion in this category, but it's a new year, and your choice for Broadcaster of the Year.
We joke around about this one a lot because we all have very strong opinions. I'm going to go with Drew Carter for Broadcaster of the Year, and I'm going to explain why and also why I don't pick Scal this year. I think Drew brings a lot of energy, a lot of youthful vigor. I think he has good jokes. I think he knows the game. I think he's worked hard to get better and know all the players around the league. I think he's tapped into the fan base in a very effective way. I think Scal's had a little bit of an off year. I can't really explain why I'm connecting less with Scal this year. As for the other teams, who are their broadcasters? The Red Sox have like 26 guys that rotate through the radio. Dave O'Brien, I still miss Don Orsillo. I'm sorry. I really like Bob Sosi, but I don't listen to the Patriots on radio really ever. And hockey, I don't have a strong opinion. So I'm going to go with Drew Carter. Very entertaining on the Celtics basketball games.
Ken?
I'm with you on this one, Paul. I'm going with Drew Carter. He's definitely grown on me more this year than even last year. I think he's gotten better. He's enjoyable. He's young. He's, like you said, he's got some life in him. I think that him and Scal have a good chemistry, so it all works together for me. I'm going with Drew.
I'm going with Drew Carter as well, and I want to give a
It's a
couple.
landslide.
Yeah, it is, and I want to give a couple of reasons why. First of all, for a guy that I think is 26 years old, he has an amazing grasp of Celtic history.
Yeah.
Which is essential to me in that role. You have,
Especially that team.
you've got to. I mean, this is what I mean, the Celtics. So he not spouts off, but he says stuff like, like Bird in 86 or even in the 60s, like Russell had, whatever. And it's great. It's like he was there, which obviously he was not. And I think that's a real tribute to the amount of work he must put into this, which is clear to me.
I think he's the one who mentioned most 30-point games in the first X amount of games since John Havlicek in 1974.
Yeah.
or
The
something like
second
that.
is what Ken said, the chemistry with Scal. I think it's very important that the Celtics announcers have chemistry because, again, you've got a history here. If you're as old as we are, you came up with Johnny Most and you loved it, most people. You had Gil Santos and Bob Cousy. I learned so much basketball from Bob Cousy.
Yep.
Then you had Mike Gorman and Tommy Heinsohn, which were a tremendous team. I learned a lot of basketball from Tommy Heinsohn. I'm learning modern basketball from Brian Scalabrine, the new styles. And Drew Carter brings that out of Scal, and he compliments him, and they're funny. And that's another reason I vote for Drew Carter, is it doesn't seem like it's life or death. And even though we live and die with these teams, live and die is not literal.
Right.
It's
Right.
sports. Yeah. So I give it overwhelmingly to Drew Carter. And by the way, he's great on those like Pixar things too. That is not Boston, but okay. Paul, you asked that we give a little addendum to this. Drew is the broadcaster of the year.
Right.
You wanted to include a nod to radio.
Okay. The talk show host of the year is Mike Felger.
No. You wanted to do a radio broadcaster.
Oh, radio broadcaster of the year. I want to go with Bob Sosi.
Yep.
The Patriots. If I'm running errands during a road game or something, because home game, I'm usually at the game. I listen to him. He has a hell of a difficult job. He's got to get by Scott Zolak. I've had a chance to meet him. He's a really good guy. He's an earnest guy. I think he's fallen into the whole Boston vibe very well. He's been a part of some big moments in New England Patriot history. So I'm going to go with Bob Sosi.
Ken?
Okay, I'm going a little bit rogue cowboy, whatever you called me again.
Go right ahead. ahead.
I'm going with the 35 games that Sean McDonough does for the Red Sox because he is absolutely phenomenal when he's doing the Red Sox on radio. I'd rather listen to him than watch the game sometimes. He's so good.
Ken, I considered Sean McDonough because he is the best, but I ultimately said that's not enough games. So I went
I battled with it.
I went a little off the beaten path too.
Yeah.
My choice is Bob Beers,
Oh,
color person or analyst for the Boston Bruins. I think that guy's great. Nothing against Andy Brickley. I think he's pretty good too.
Yep.
But I think Bob Beers is phenomenal, very professional, and very good. So we have a subcategory here under our Broadcaster of the Year, Evan. And your choices are Bob Beers of the Bruins, Sean McDonough of the Red Sox, and Bob Sosi of the Patriots. So we covered 3 of the 4 teams.
If I had a fourth vote, I would have picked Scott Zolak, but I'm going to have to go with Sosi for this one.
Okay.
that is so interesting, Evan, that you would go with Scott Zolak because the three of us are pretty much in unison that we can't handle him.
No, I can't handle him.
It's
either.
nothing personal.
No.
I just
Nothing
don't like. I
personal.
just don't like the interruptions.
No.
Yeah.
And the grunting.
Yeah. In the talking over of a good play-by-play guy like Sosi.
Just wait.
Right.
You
Just
know,
wait.
let the play finish and then do your thing.
Right.
The other thing about this broadcasting with Drew, Carter, and Scal, I really hope that they become, for this generation, they're there a long time. And I think they got a chance to do that, the two
Oh,
of
yeah.
them, that they can become our generation's Mike and Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they're both very good, Drew especially since he's younger, at incorporating, younger people's interests. And I think that's going to be great for the Celtics.
Yeah.
So, okay, good discussion there on that. All right, Ken,
Yeah.
we now move on to talk radio, something that a very astute writer for the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox says will be obsolete within 2 decades.
What'll
Talk-
be obsolete?
Talk radio. So the talk radio host of the year, sports.
I'm going with Fred Toucher of Toucher and Hardy. He knows sports, but I also find him amusing. So when I'm listening in the morning, I find it entertaining. So I'm going with entertaining Fred Toucher.
Well, I already hinted at my pick.
Yep.
It's Mike Felger, and there's no other candidate. He is the 300-pound, 3,000-pound, what is the expression? Gorilla of Boston sports radio. I don't care for his style, but he draws the highest ratings. He gets the most revenue. He has the most ad revenue. He is very, very well-spoken. He has good takes. He has outrageous takes. He does everything you want in a sports radio host. And whether you like him, don't like him, he doesn't really care, which I think is a good quality. He doesn't mind if you hate him and listen to him.
Right.
He's okay with
Actually,
that.
he likes it. Yeah.
He trolls the fans better than anybody, so I went with Mike Felger.
I switched on this a lot. For a lot of the reasons you said, I advocated and voted for Felger last year. This year, I decided, he does need a sidekick. I don't like that show, but Maz is the perfect sidekick for him. And God bless them both, it works. But then I thought, he's not the highest rated show in Boston anymore. I think I should acknowledge that. So, Ken, I am joining you
Whoa.
to award Fred Toucher the 2025 BSN Talk Show Host of the Year.
Wait till he finds this out.
Well,
Incredible.
I'm sure it'll be a big segment on his show when he gets
Yeah.
it.
Okay, my turn to go first.
Evan will send him out this clip so he
Yeah.
knows, right, Evan?
Do, Evan.
Next category is Coach/Manager of the Year. We may tend to think this is obvious. I don't think it is.
It's tough.
I don't think it is. My choice is Mike Vrabel. Comes in here, turns a 4-13 team into a
14-3.
14-3 team. How could it even be close? I say it's close because Joe Mazzulla has done an amazing job. Watch our last show if you want details because, we're limited here. But I think it's close, but ultimately 4-13 to 13-4. I got to give it to Mike Vrabel.
I think that Missoula is an interesting candidate, but I had some real problems with the way he coached against the Knicks in the playoffs. I know the Celtics missed a lot of shots, which is not his fault, but I'm not sure that he did the right things to do to win that series. He had a tremendous roster. I don't think he made the most of it. I think he's having a far better second part of 2025 than first part. I went with Mike Vrabel. I think what the Patriots have done, it's almost like beyond belief. That's how bad they were last year.
Yeah.
And for them to turn it around like they have, I don't know how you pick anybody
Boston
else.
has not seen this since 1979-80,
When Bird came in.
Larry Bird's first year.
Yep.
They went from 29 wins to
60.
60.
Yeah, I mean,
Ken?
67 Red Sox, but that's going way, way back.
You want
Yeah.
to make this unanimous?
Yeah.
Right, 67.
Yeah, I'm going Vrabes.
Okay. The reason I said Missoula was close was the second
Oh, he's
half.
definitely.
What he's done with this team is amazing.
But the other thing I'll tell you is they had a nice run in January, February, March,
they did.
leading up to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They played really well, and then they sputtered a little, like you said. come
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Knicks series.
Porzingis was.
And then they've had a
not all
great
there, but those
October,
two
November,
20-point
December.
Losses were hurt. I mean, with the 20-point leads that they lost.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Mike Vrabel, clear choice, but a little closer, maybe in my opinion, but definitely the clear choice. So congratulations to Mike. My turn to go first. GM of the year. Now this one, to me, well, you might say the Pats. They turned the whole team around. I got one problem with that. They don't have a GM. I'm not giving that award to someone who doesn't have the title or isn't president of operations.
Right.
I'm not going for this. Mike is really in charge, but Chad Wolf does this. So I am going the guy that unbelievably turned the Celtics into a winning team this year when I thought they'd be 500 at best, battling for a play-in spot. And that's Brad Stevens for bringing in a roster that plays harder than anybody else and that is perfectly complemented what his coach wants to do and to building this team and now giving Celtics fans hope that when Jason Tatum comes back, not a title this year, but with some adjustments maybe in the next 2 years, we're up there with OKC again. So I vote for Brad Stevens. Ken?
Well, it's funny. We had the same question in our head. Like, I don't know who the GM of the Patriots is. I really don't know. And I guess you could give it to Vrabel or Wolf. I'm not sure.
You can do whatever you want to do.
Right, but I'm not. I'm giving it to Brad Stevens as well.
All right,
Okay.
guys, okay, two things. Number one, I don't think any team has a general manager. Okay, the Red Sox have a vice president in charge of
Yeah,
player
it's-
acquisition.
it's all new
You know, all
names.
these teams have. So I think knocking the Patriots because they don't have anybody that's actually called general manager, I can't buy into that. Secondly, I think what we're really talking about with this award is best player acquisition person of the year, and I think it's clear that it's the Patriots. Number one, they
But
had
who? Who do I give the award to?
Elliot Wolf.
Who do I
He gets
send
the
the trophy
Elliot
to?
Wolf gets the credit.
But he doesn't make the final decision.
Well, who makes the final decision in Boston? Maybe the owner
Brad
does.
Stevens.
Let me finish. Okay, Elliot Wolf / Mike Vrabel. It's one of those two. Okay, they had a great free agent signing period. They had a great let go of guys that can't play anymore. Period. They had a great draft, and they have done a good job throughout the course of the season filling in the blanks. Brad Stevens did not have an amazing offseason. What he did was get rid of guys. Jordan Walsh, you already had. Keita, who now plays more, he already had. Hauser, who plays a lot more now, he already had. The only guys that he's really acquired that have contributed a lot are Simons and Minot.
And
No,
Gaza
that's not true. And
Okay,
Gaza.
all right, Garza.
And Hugo.
and Hugo Gonzalez.
Okay, he had a
Draft
good draft.
pick. You said it on the last show.
Okay, he had a good draft.
5 guys.
But guys, comparing that to the complete and utter overhaul of the New England Patriots that have gone from being at the bottom, rated the worst team coming into the season, to being the favorite in some media outlets to win the Super Bowl is astonishing.
Okay, I'm going to go with what you've said for many shows. They lost Porzingis, Horford, Cornette, Drew Holiday. Who am I missing?
Horford.
and Al Horford, whatever. They lost all those, but he replaced them with guys.
Five guys.
He replaced them with a few guys that are playing out of nowhere that we got in. I knew Anthony Simons was in the league. I didn't know he was a 20-point scorer. He traded Drew Holiday for him. Drew's not playing. Porzingis never plays. They got Gaza for nothing. I mean, Gaza wasn't playing for anybody. I just think he
I think we're talking. First of all, the best players on the Celtics were already there. They were already there. Brown was already there. Pritchard was already
Drake
there.
May was already
Derek White was already there. Okay, this one blows my mind.
Okay.
I got to be honest.
All right.
All right. Well, let's get your mind unblown.
Well, we can't have a dispute on this show.
No,
What?
I know. Of course we can.
Okay.
Brad Stevens acquired. Let's say he acquired 5 guys that are helping. That's. He's only got 14 guys. That's over 33% of the team.
Well, I struggled this one too because
I'm happy to lose a vote.
Okay.
But
No. Secondly, I want to make it clear. I do think, and maybe it's just the way we look at it, that when you split the job of acquiring these players, I want to give this award to the guy that did the best himself. I think that matters. If we're going to say team, I'm going to go with you. So I'll give you that.
But I got to
gonna
say,
give you
Jim,
that.
you're way too sophisticated. You are at the top of sports fans for sophistication. You know there's no such thing as Dick O'Connell sitting there going through the globe anymore. They have staffs. They have assistant GMs.
But
they
to
have
me,
assistant
Paul,
vice
then
presidents.
it's Mike Vrabel. Because how do I give it to Wolf when he doesn't make the draft picks?
Well, you chose to call it GM of the Year. If we called it Player Acquisition Team of the Year,
so how can
I don't know.
How can Wolf, when he doesn't make the final decision, be better than the guy that does make the final decision?
You don't think that Brad Stevens sat down with Sam Cassell and Austin, the equivalent of Austin Ainge, who
Of
used to be,
course he did.
and Joe Mazzulla, and said, I'm going to go after this guy, and Joe said, no.
But somebody's got to make the call, and the Patriots guy apparently is Mike Vrabel. But okay, you're right. We got a dispute, but we do agree, at least you and I. If you want to call it player acquisition, the Patriots did a better job. I will give you that.
Thank you.
But my reason. So the GM, and maybe I should call it GM, head of basketball, head of sports operations, goes to Brad Stevens.
okay.
Thank you, Ken.
Disputed vote.
Disputed vote. Our next category is owner of the year. We're going to start with Ken Berman.
Well, this was another tough one for me. I was thinking to myself, Wick/Chisholm, maybe. They both owned the Celtics in 2025. But I crossed that out, and I'm going with Bob Kraft because he made the tough decision, as we talked about earlier, of firing a guy he really liked, Mayo, and hiring Vrabel. And that's just, 14-3 doing that. I got to make him owner of the year.
Paul?
Believe it or not, I struggled with this one because in the case of Bob Kraft, the decision to fire Mayo, which Jim's absolutely right, was a tough call to make, was on the heels of a terrible decision the prior year to hire Gerard Mayo. So he made an enormous mess, and he cleaned up the mess. I'm going to go with Bob Kraft for the simple reason that he made a lot of decisions that worked out. He made the decision to move on from Mayo. That was a good call. Made the decision to keep Wolf around. Looks like so far, anyway, that Wolf and Vrabel had a pretty good offseason with free agents. And, because a lot of local guys like Felger said, there's no way that Mike Vrabel's going to allow there to be a two-headed monster. Right. So far, it seems to be working okay. Yeah. And then the decision to hire Mike Vrabel. So I got to go with Bob.
Can I add one thing to that? Didn't Kraft sort of hire Josh McDaniels?
Well, that's what they keep saying on the radio, but I've never heard that, so I don't go.
Whatever way they acquired him, I've said this a number of times before. One of the biggest changes you watch in the Patriots is how much more professional their coaching is than what it was.
The whole staff.
The whole staff.
I mean, they have ex-head coaches as assistants.
Right.
I'm going to make this unanimous and go with Bob Kraft. Let me just add.
Mr. Kraft.
Yeah. But for reasons you guys stated, I won't repeat them. To me, he's the clear choice because he'd also win by default. but he is better than that. But really, the Celtics sold the team. The Bruins, God knows, and the Red Sox, I'm sorry. So he would win by default almost, but I think he earned it. I do, for all the reasons, and I won't repeat them, that both of you said. I think he earned it.
I actually considered the Bruins very briefly, although my default position with their ownership, Jacobs, is always to hate him because they don't spend money. But their decision to kind of blow up this team that's been hanging around for the last 15 years and move on from it was kind of bold. So I give them credit for that. Whether they are able to turn it around remains to be seen.
Okay, we're going to run through these next four fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I'll start. Bruins MVP. Again, this is kind of by default. Over the 2 years, I'm going to go with David Pastrnak, although Geeky could be a strong contender for just this part of the calendar year. But I'll go with David Pastrnak, who still remains one of the best athletes in Boston. Paul?
I agree. Ken?
They don't have one. They don't have an MVP. I'm sorry. I'm going with the Bruins fans, who are the most loyal people in the world.
All right, Evan, there's an interesting choice here. You can – you agree.
Oh, no, I went with you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, good. So it's David Pastrnak.
He doesn't
Bruins
make
Player of the Year.
a big enough difference to be an MVP.
Okay. Celtics MVP. Ken Berman.
I'm going with Tatum.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going with Tatum.
All right, Paul.
Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had a great end of last season, and he's had an absurd start to the 2025-2026 season. If we look just at what he did in the fall of 2025, is he better than Jason Tatum? Let me be the first to ask that question. Is he bigger? Is he stronger? Is he more impactful? Is he coming out from the shadow of Jason Tatum?
Could be.
Yeah.
Interesting question, I think.
I'll have to break the tie, so I am going to go with Jaylen Brown. I think, Jason Tatum didn't get to play in the beginning of the 2025.
But he was
26
tremendous
season.
January, February, March,
He was.
April, May.
He was. He
was
absolutely
tremendous
tremendous
last
but I
season.
think that Jaylen Brown this
He
year.
was first team All NBA.
He was. No, look, Ken, I could pick either one of them, but I think Jaylen Brown went above
Good
and
pick.
beyond.
I can't argue with it. I
above
love
and
it.
beyond
I'm arguing.
the Call of Duty. So, Jaylen Brown
guess
is the Celtics
Who says I can't argue?
MVP.
I came in this room to have an argument. No, you didn't. Oh, yes, I did.
Well, the arguments are good. All right, Paul, I think it's your turn.
We don't-
Patriots MVP.
Well,
Close one.
Well, look, Drake May is the MVP of the New England Patriots, possibly the MVP of the National Football League. I still don't think he gets enough credit. It's all over the media how great he's been, but I think it's been even greater than that. I've watched pro football for 60-something years. And it's
Wow, you are old, aren't you?
I am. It's
Yeah.
no secret.
Jim and I are like in our 30s.
It's rare to see a quarterback play this well this early in his career.
Yeah.
And he says all the right things. He does all the right things. And I think he's been the main reason why the Patriots have been winning. The whole team obviously contributes, but I got to give him the MVP.
I absolutely
Yeah.
give him the MVP. Without him, this team, I don't know where they'd be. Ken?
It's humanitous.
All right, Drake May.
But can I just say
Of
one
course.
thing about Paul and I and our little saying we have an argument or not? For the people that are way younger than us, there was a group called Monty Python
Yes.
who did, this was one of their skits. I don't know if you guys have ever seen
I
it.
remember.
It's an argument. He knocks on a door and he walks into a room. He goes, "Is this the argument room?" The guy goes, "No." "Well, I came in this room to have an argument." "No, it's not the argument room." "Well, are we going to argue?" "No, we're not going to." And
And it ends up being an argument.
It's
All right.
Patriots. Okay, we're
Back
out.
to me. Best Red Sox MVP. To me, this is Garrett Crochet. He came here to be an ace, and he was clearly an ace. Won't bore everybody with the stats, but, I mean, the stats were great.
Great postseason appearance.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
great. And it's Garrett Crochet. A trade that, the prospects are doing okay for Chicago. Some of them could end up on an all-star team. But to get an ace, you got to give up something. And they got it. So, Paul? Red Sox MVP?
Crochet won 18 games, had a big postseason appearance, was nasty at times, had a couple of games that we either complete games or close to complete games, saving the bullpen.
Yep.
You know, he's big, he's kind of scary. Gotta love it. you
Ken?
know.
Yeah,
Clearly their best player.
Crochet. The other thing I think of, he's a horse. As they say for some of those pitches, he's a horse.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think we're back to Paul to go first. Best postseason athlete, Paul.
Oy.
This one was kind of tough because, you know, the Patriots weren't in the postseason. The Red Sox had a very short time in the postseason. The Bruins, you know,
They
obviously.
didn't make it.
Yeah,
last
the
year.
Bruins obviously didn't make it. In the case of the Celtics, I'm going to go with Jason Tatum. I thought he was playing really well in the postseason until he had that unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
You know, tore his Achilles. So I think Jason Tatum is the pick.
Okay, I'm going to go with Garrett Crochet. He pitched one game against the Yankees, game one, 7 and 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 11 Ks, 0 walks. He outpitched Max Fried, who the Red Sox wanted to sign, against the Yankees, who then won the next 2 games. I just don't think anybody had really a great postseason this year, so I kind of want with one superior individual performance. And hopefully the Red Sox will go a little, farther so that this guy can pitch a little more in the
Yep.
postseason. Ken, we've got Tatum and Crochet, 2 good picks.
I went with Tatum.
Okay, so that's I'm outvoted, which is fine, of course. So postseason athlete of the year is Garrett Crochet. Is Jason Tatum, a well-deserving winner as always. We're all big fans of his. Okay, Ken, I think it's your turn.
No, wait a minute. I think I wrote names in the wrong place. Now I'm reading my notes. Okay, what are we on?
We're coming to athlete of the year.
We're coming to Athlete of the Year.
Yeah.
I'm going with Drake May.
Okay.
That's a bold take.
Paul.
Yeah, it's Drake May. He's possibly the MVP in America's #1 sport, the National Football League. No other player in Boston sports. We have some good players in Boston. Crochet, Anthony, Brown, Tatum, Pasternak. But nobody comes close in 2025 to what Drake May has done. He's the MVP.
I'll make it unanimous. It's pretty clear. Drake May, just what can we say? Well, as fans.
Is he going to have room in his house for all this?
Yeah, I know. As fans, we had Tom Brady, and now we get this. This is just 6 years later. So.
Well, I'm sure Jets fans are saying, "Oh,
Yeah,
good."
Yeah, they're loving it. Okay, a little different. Sports person of the year. I think it's my turn. In Boston, this could include any athlete, any owner, any GM, any director of player acquisition. I struggled with this one, and I said, all right. And this is definitely the fact that we gave Drake May the previous award unanimously. I went with Jaylen Brown, and I don't think he's had as good a year athletically, but I think to watch someone do what he's done in the last 4 months, to raise the level of his game, to take the leadership of a team, and he has, as I think Paul said in this show or the last show, really led the team, as you pointed out, is truly extraordinary in my opinion, the most highly competitive league in sports. To go from a top 20 player to a top 5 player in that league, to me is incredible. And with all the other stuff, and he's outstanding in the community. He does a lot, and he's clearly his own person. I mean, he has not signed a shoe deal. He created his own brand, and good for him. All that's good for him. He's his own person. He's outspoken. And one of the leadership qualities he showed was a little bird-like. Remember that game? They were one of the few games they were really bad? And he kind of just laid it out there. That's very Larry-like. Okay, you got to have real...
Don't accept losing.
Yeah, you got to have real big-time respect from your teammates to do that kind of thing. So I went with Jaylen Brown. Probably lose this one, but Ken?
No, I actually went with Jaylen Brown.
You did?
Yeah, and for everything you said, just to add, he does a lot for the Boston community as well, if you're going to add that into
Yeah, sure.
like person of the year. He's got a lot of great charity going on. I mean, I know a lot of them do, but he's a voice in Boston.
Yeah. Paul?
Okay, what I sent you was a typo. This is not what I intended.
Okay.
It's Mike Vrabel.
Oh, all right.
All
That's a
right,
great.
Let
very
me
good.
let me tell you why.
Yeah.
As great as Drake May has been as athlete of the year,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen without great coaching. Whether it's the way he behaves, and this is what my opportunity to talk a little bit about him. I
Sure.
think when it's easy to look at Belichick and say, oh, he's a grumpy lobster fisherman and all that. But I really think that this generation. I mean, I read the Wall Street Journal every day. I read the New York Times. I used to be a school teacher. I read about young people. They don't respond. They respond differently than young people used to respond to authority. And I think Mike Vrabel has figured out a way to interact with these young people, which is revolutionary. You know, almost like the father they never had or the father they don't have right now as they make their way through the National Football League. Whether it's running on the field to console players that have been hurt or patting them when they come off the field or not really rah-rah post-game speeches, but keeping them focused when they went 1-2, not losing hope. I think he's changed the whole vibe of the New England Patriots organization dramatically. Jaylen Brown is a great choice for all the reasons you guys stated, but the Patriots are the biggest sports story in Boston for 2025, and he's a big part of it. So I'm going with.
Yeah, I think that's, I stay with Brown, but I think that's a good choice.
Oh, yeah.
I just think one thing about Vrabel to me, to be a great coach, one thing, you got to be true to yourself. He can't be Belichick. He can't be anybody else.
Yeah,
he's
he's
very true to himself.
Right.
All these things you're talking about. And, he is who he is, and he's done a great job, and he has changed the vibe. But, Bill couldn't do this. Vrabel couldn't be Bill. And I'm just really happy we have Mike Vrabel to root for, and I think that's a very good choice. So, the sports person of the year in Boston is Jaylen Brown. All right, now, this is our concluding category.
This is big.
It's big. It's the big one. Our one deviation from Boston. So this is
There's many deviations in Boston.
All of sports, Paul. All of sports. Who is your 2025 sports person of the year?
Shohei Ohtani. Okay. A couple of reasons. Number one, baseball ain't what it was when we were kids. Everybody watched the playoffs. Everybody watched the World Series. Everybody watched Game 6 of the 75 World Series. That's not the reality we live in now. Sports media viewing is very fractured, and baseball is not at the top. It's second. It's a healthy second behind the NFL, ahead of the NBA to some degree, but it's become very localized. It's less national. I think Ohtani caused baseball to be back. In that World Series, if you went, to the grocery store and ran into a friend, you talked about the World Series. That wasn't the case in years leading up to that World Series, and he was a big reason for that. He's a global baseball star, not some American kid, which I think is good for the game. Canada, he's a global superstar in baseball, which I think for America is a good story.
Ken Berman.
Paul, there's an old saying that great minds think alike. So Shohei Ohtani was he was the playoffs. He was the story. He was talked about. He's amazing. He is an ultimate international superstar.
I think Ohtani is a great choice. I think Sports Illustrated gave it. This may be one of those fake memes, but I saw a headline with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's also a very good choice. I mean, he's MVP of the league. His team won the title. He was MVP of the playoffs or the finals, which is quite a triple right there. But my choice is neither, although I would rate Ohtani second. My choice is Rory McIlroy. And the reason it's Rory McIlroy is the following. He completed the career Grand Slam with the Masters win, which, you could see the pressure that was on him if you won, get that monkey off his back. He's had disappointments there in the past. If that was all he did, I would have voted for Ohtani. He also won the Players' Championship, which, as we know as golf fans, is the fifth major, is the fifth most important tournament of the year. Okay? He also was the unquestioned leader of the European Ryder Cup team.
Yep,
now,
no question.
I get in the United States, maybe it's not as big a deal as it is in Europe, but this is an international award. It is a huge deal for Europeans, and Rory has established himself. When you think Ryder Cup, you think Rory McIlroy. He led that team to victory on the road, which it has mattered in Ryder Cups.
It has.
And I think one of the reasons it matters is golfers are not used to being, cheered against as the other athletes are. Not only that, he endured abuse during that tournament.
Yeah, he did.
That should never happen in a sports event. We don't need to detail it here. So he endured all that and won. And you say, what a year. It's great. This is incredible. He's not done. Rory McIlroy won the race to Dubai.
Yeah, he did.
Which
I
is
was
the European.
I knew you were going to say that.
Which is the European Championship. Now, for those of you who only follow golf on the PGA Tour, remember, the Europeans regularly beat us in the Ryder Cup. A lot of them play there. They don't stop at the FedEx Championship the way our players do. They
Correct.
go and finish the season, finish the year in Europe, and Rory won that.
Yep, he
So, and he's been an ambassador for the game, one of the most admired players among his peers and golf fans, has done a lot for the PGA Tour, does not like live. And so while I think Ohtani is a deserving winner of this award and he will win, I voted for Rory McIlroy. So to make it official, the sports person of the year is Shohei Ohtani, probably the most phenomenal athlete we have seen in quite some time. And that's been a great show. Any last thoughts, Paul, on 2025?
Well, 2025 was a year of, for me personally, tremendous highs and tremendous lows. Debbie and I were talking the other night. We want 2026 to kind of just be like this. Okay?
Yeah.
2025 was like this. Thank
Yeah.
God right now, knock on wood, things are okay. The Boston sports world was like that.
Yeah.
We had the horrific injury to Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know as we sit here now whether he'll be what he was before.
Never can tell with that injury.
We thought we had a shot at another title there. We didn't get it. The Red Sox brought us to heights. Oh my goodness! And then Roman Anthony turns funny, and that was the end of that. The Patriots started off terrible. Oh, another year, we're going to be awful, and then they've risen to the heights. So hopefully in 2026 things are just on the up.
I like that.
Yeah.
Ken, any final thoughts on 2025?
Nothing. No, I think we covered it. I like this show. This is a lot of fun. Get to think about the past year and things like that. And now look forward to 2026. We should probably win the Super Bowl. And the Celtics should probably win the NBA title. And the Red Sox should win a World Series. And the Bruins, I have no idea.
I'll take one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at 2025, maybe it's aligned with you, Paul, when you said ups and downs. I look at it as kind of comings and goings. And, the goings were Jason Tatum, not permanently, thank God, but for a while. Roman Anthony, who to me was a coming. Here's this kid that, as you said, I think earlier, certainly their best position player by the end of the season. We saw 5 players on the Celtics that we really liked going. But we saw a group of Celtics come in that I'm telling you, this team reminds me, Ken, of the 70s Celtics, how hard they play and how every night it's kind of a David and Goliath thing. Back then it was the undersized center for that era against the bigger centers. This year, it's the not superstars against team with superstars. So we saw some new players that we all enjoy watching and rooting for. And I think, again, in the Cummings category, we saw a new coach in Foxborough that, as you articulated earlier, Mike Vrabel has been fantastic. And also, I mean, Drake May was here, so I'll call that a coming of age of Drake May, which, as a sports fan, has been just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
To see a guy get this good. We knew he was good. But so to me, it's been a year of comings and goings. And I hope 2026 that some of these teams that had misfortune with injury can stay healthy when it matters. I mean, I know they can't do it all year, but when it matters, and I hope they stay healthy all year, but it's unrealistic. But I hope that these teams, when they go into their postseasons, have their roster. So that's going to do it. We want to thank Evan for a great 2025.
For breaking some ties.
And for breaking some ties. Great contribution, Evan. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Ken. I'm Jim, and this has been the 2025 Boston Sports Nuts Award Show, and we will see you with an episode soon.
Can't miss.
Thank you for watching Boston Sports Nuts. You can find all of our episodes available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. For more information, go to westwoodmediacenter.tv or follow Boston Sports Nuts on Facebook, Instagram, and X.